This week's Torah portion begins, Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el Aharon ve'amarta elav, beha'alotcha et hanerot el mul pnei hamenorah, ya'iru shivat hanerot, which means God spoke to Moses saying, when you kindle the lamps, let the 7 lamps give light, and Aaron lit the lamps. The 7-branched menorah is the central religious symbol of Judaism. It's symbolized today in virtually every sanctuary, including ours in the main sanctuary. The menorah is on the emblem of the state of Israel because its light represents the Jewish values of justice, truth, knowledge, and the light of God within each of us. The Star of David is never mentioned in the Torah, even if it too has become an important symbol of Judaism nowadays. The Magen David, Star of David, though, does not have the high spiritual meaning of the menorah. And this week's portion opens with a command to Aaron that he kindle the menorah. Then, as you heard, the Torah relates that Aaron followed the command. Isn't it obvious that Aaron would follow God's command? Why does this need to be mentioned? Well, the 18th century Lithuanian Rabbi Eliyahu ben Shlomo Zalman, known as the Vilna Gaon, comments that even though Aaron kindled the menorah lights every day, even on Shabbat, he never lost his enthusiasm and he never lost his reverence for the Judaism and for the holy task that God put before him. As I end my 20th year here this month, it's hard to believe, I can honestly say that my own enthusiasm and reverence for sustaining and creating a vibrant, accessible, spiritful Judaism was lit initially by Rabbi Danziger, and it's been rekindled in recent years because of the colleagues who have joined in this sacred endeavor at Temple. It's hard to believe that Rabbi Katie is in year 7 of her flourishing rabbinate, while tonight marks the first official Shabbat of Abby and Rabbi Feivel Strauss, 2 of the 3 brilliant new additions to the clergy team Rabbi Bowman and I can't wait to partner with now that Abby is our music director and Rabbi Feivel our senior educator. The 4 of us, along with Rabbi Bess Wollner, who arrives next month, can't wait to create more Jewish moments and memories with you, from services like tonight to all the rich experiences we'll create with our Temple family in the month and in the years ahead, God willing. It feels strange to say this, but I was in Israel yesterday. The flight departed Tel Aviv at 12:15 a.m. yesterday. And as with the hundreds who have journeyed to Israel, not only with me, but with any of our Temple rabbis, last week's experience was life-changing for the families, couples, 3 bar mitzvahs, even those who went solo. When you go to Israel or have a transformative experience of any kind, you tend not to remember days. You remember moments, don't you? Someone once said, life is about moments. Don't wait for them, create them. That saying, life is about moments, don't wait for them, create them, is the message not only for our new senior clergy team, it's a message for each of us, including the stellar 20 Temple Israel Fellows who are with us this evening on their first official Shabbat of their summer program. Under the leadership of David Edelson, Jeff Dreyfus, Sam Fargetstein, Ben Orgel, and all the advisors, This temple in Memphis, Tennessee has demonstrated what the Jewish people have always taught the world, that if you will it, it's no dream. If you will it, a small group of individuals can make amazing things happen, from this fellow summer program in Memphis to the state of Israel herself. We landed in Israel just a few weeks after this tiny country showed its huge heart and warm hands in saving lives. It was only a month ago when nearly 10,000 children and adults in Nepal were killed, and tens of thousands more injured by a horrific 7.8 magnitude earthquake. It happened at 10 a.m. on a Shabbat morning. By 4 o'clock that afternoon, one of the smallest countries in the world, Israel, surpassed the largest in the world, China, in saving lives. I learned last week, talking to medical friends in Israel, about the rapid response of the Israel Defense Forces in creating the largest field hospital, 260 Israelis, including 45 physicians and even more nurses and x-ray technicians, dropping everything, leaving their families, flying 3,000 miles to help total strangers. Israel sent the medical director of its major Jerusalem hospital and 259 others. China, the next largest, sent 37 personnel. Japan, 4. And get this, in 18 days, only 18 days, the Israeli team treated 1,600 patients, performed 90 life-saving operations in the field. They delivered 8 babies, including 6 by C-section. Now, a cynic might argue saving 1,600 whose future is uncertain is only a drop in the ocean, but one of the doctors, quoting Jewish tradition, said, Kol matzil nefesh echad ki'ilu matzil olam umlo'o. Saving just one life is tantamount to saving an entire world. And Israel's impact was so much greater than the victims the team treated and saved. Their influence encompassed all the families affected and this devastated country, Nepal, when they heard about what the Israel team did, that a tiny country had come from so far away to help them, encourage them, heal them. It gave them incentive to help themselves and go on rather than give up. The menorah God tells Aaron to light this week was never far from the eternal light above the ark. And these lights relate not only to each other, the eternal light and the menorah, and not only to what Israel, Temple Israel, our fellows and clergy are doing. I hope you get the idea that these lights relate to all of us in our congregational family. Let me tell you why. When I had a free night in Jerusalem, I dined with the provost of the Hebrew Union College, Professor Michael Marmer, who preached here on his visit to the United States a few years ago. And we discussed his talk on the meaning of tamid, as in ner tamid. Whether it's the so-called eternal light or the 7-branch menorah, how can that light stay ablaze forever, even if it's electric? Is that what tamid means? Does tamid mean always ablaze, or that it was regularly kindled? After all, the very name of this week's Torah portion, you could see it outside in the Living Torah, Baha'alotcha means when you kindle the lights, not when you see the lights kindled. In other words, whether you're in Israel or in Memphis, whether you're from Austin or Indiana, you have to renew. You have to restart. You have to refresh. You have to revivify, restore, rekindle, reform, revive the things in life that matter most. From the image of God in people who are hurting or forgotten to the future of this Jewish community, whether in the Mid-South or the Middle East. Because let's face it, the only way this beautiful, rich heritage and vibrant faith called Judaism will continue in our time is if we rededicate it, renew it, create true community. That's how we do it. Not hit or miss programs, not one-hit wonders, not hype, but the ongoing fanning of the flame of Jewish living, learning, and loving. Baha'alotcha, the Torah says, when you kindle the light, when you fan the flame of Torah, prayer, faith, singing, learning, healing, goodness, mitzvah, etc., when you kindle the light within you, when your soul is awakened, when your heart is moved, when your mind is stirred, you will grow. Even into your 90s, you will grow. Whether it's TI fellows, newcomers to Judaism, or regular service goers, the menorah and the light of Judaism will not stay ablaze unless, like Aaron is commanded, we do the lighting ourselves. Unless we feel called upon to spread the light of justice, love, tikkun olam, wherever we can dispel the darkness, whether in the home of a grieving family, in Nepal, worthy causes around Memphis, temple members are engaged with, total strangers whom an Israeli doctor saved. The lights of that original menorah were told, and with this story I close, the lights were told radiated such an incredibly powerful light that when King Solomon built the first temple in Jerusalem with King Hiram of ancient Lebanon, this issue of light came into play in the architectural design of the windows. You see, Solomon's architects indicated on the blueprints that the size of the window on the outside of the thick temple walls should be larger than they were on the inside. King Hiram returned the plans and said, "My dear King Solomon, I think you got it wrong. To bring maximum light into the temple, the size of the windows needs to be smaller on the outside, then gradually increase, like a megaphone," that's my addition, "to a larger size on the inside instead of your plans, to increase maximum light into the temple." And Solomon replied, "Oh no, we sent it the way we intended. Because the windows of the temple, whether in Jerusalem or Memphis, are not designed to bring light into the temple from the outside. The temple windows must be designed to radiate light mibifnim hachutza, from within the temple out to the world. In other words, the temple, from the original one in Jerusalem to this one in the wilderness of Memphis, should always be a place that sends out light to a troubled world. Whether that means fixing downtown, healing midtown, sending out signals to Israel and a world in need of our light and our hope. And finally, on the personal level, the message is that the brightness and quality of our spiritual lives depends on the light inside each of us, not outside of us. And awakening that light in each of our souls as we find TI fellows, the careers that fulfill you, the Memphis that needs you, the Judaism that calls us to shine light from the inside to the outside, not the other way around. So God tells Aaron to kindle the light of the menorah every day, because the things that matter most in life have to be rekindled or else they grow stale. Marriages, friendships, relationships, even our connection to Judaism must be reignited and renewed by each of us. And let us say,